And welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you. I hope you're doing well. Hope all is good in your world. Hope you're enjoying August. Welcome to August, everyone. We're that much closer to the fall. Here in Canada, that means winter's coming after that. And oh boy. Anyways, it's August. Before I get real sad that the summer's going by too quick, I thought I'd jump on and do a Daily Dave for you and talk about something that will be happening in November that you need to be aware of and maybe thinking about and planning for today so that you can benefit in November. What am I talking about? It's the National Podcast Post Month, hashtag NaPodPoMo. And what happens in November is there's a challenge that goes out to podcasters to create a single episode every day for the month of November. 30 episodes in a row, people. 30. And it's a challenge. It's not mandatory. You don't have to do this, but there's the option for you to try. And what I would suggest if you're going to do it is to do it like in August and September and maybe even October instead of trying to do it in November, because that's crazy. That's a lot of work to do in 1 month. So for the last couple of years, I've been doing the NaPodPoMo, National Podcast Post Month. I've done it for Living the Next Chapter, my author podcast at livingthenextchapter.com. And I've also done it for this show, the How to Podcast series at audacious.ca. But I'm also this year going to be doing it for Dad Space at dadspace.ca. It's a podcast for dads by dads. So add that up, everyone. Are you ready for do some math? 30 episodes for Living the Next Chapter, plus 30 episodes for How to Podcast series. That's 60. Add on 30 episodes for Dad Space. We're at 90 episodes are going to be going out in the month of November. Oh, yes. Now that feels overwhelming. That seems like a lot of podcasting, Dave. Let me give you some insights here. Living the Next Chapter, my author podcast, I talk to about 20, 25 people a week for this show. So I have a flood of content. In August, I already have episodes locked and loaded into November. So by the time I get to the end of the year for Living the Next Chapter, I have too many episodes. And I need a way to kind of flush through the inventory, get it all out there, and clean up my calendar for December and then into the new year. So National Podcast Post Month really helps me to push out 30 45-minute episodes in 1 month. It's a big flood for my audience, I understand, but not everybody listens in the moment. They listen when they listen, so don't worry about that. So Living the Next Chapter, definitely going to be doing that this year. I'm already locked and loaded for many of the episodes already now, even in August, that'll be going out in November. How to Podcast series, what I'm doing is I've put out a question to my podcasting past guests, and I went all the way back to the beginning. Sent out some emails, and I have asked them to respond to 3 questions using my SpeakPipe and record their messages back. And I'm going to do a recap episode, bringing back some of the voices from the past on the How to Podcast series, answering 3 questions to benefit you as a listener. So you get to learn from 30 people not named Dave who can help you with your show by answering 3 questions that I've asked them all. So technically they're doing the content for me. I just have to arrange it, produce it, and put it out. That's a good idea, right? So I'm like, well, I could do that for Dad Space as well. So I'm also doing it there. I have 3 questions specific to dads. And again, I've gone through my past episodes, reached out to 30 of my previous guests, and asked them to answer 3 questions. And then I've done that now in August. And what I'm going to do is September timeframe, if I haven't filled up all 30 spots with responses for the How to Podcast series or Dad Space, specific to those podcasts, then I'll send out a second email and inviting a few more people to kind of fill in the gaps. What I did is I created a Google spreadsheet. I have the name, the email address, and just a list of 30 spots. And I'm just filling them in as they come in. So I'm doing that in the moment. And it's kind of cool because now I can build this content. My past guests are helping me create the content for November. So I don't have to do this all on my own. And I get the chance to put out 90 episodes in 1 month. Now think about this. If we do one episode a week for a year, that's 52 episodes. I'm almost doubling that, almost, in 1 month. So that's a lot of episodes. What it does, though, the idea of this National Podcast Post Month is it just gives your feed a little boost of content, which then feeds for me, because I'm set up this way, feeds my YouTube channel, feeds all of my apps, feeds my audience, creates this push of content into the world that search engines love, listening apps love. My content goes out to my audience, which they love getting more content. And all 3 of these podcasts benefit from a boost of 30 episodes in a row. Now, what could you do for your show? If you started today, it's August 4th that I'm recording this. What could you do today to benefit you in November? What if you did, so whatever your podcast is, what if you did 30 songs that inspire you? And you have a link to each of the songs. You can't really play the song in your podcast because that's copyright. But you could have a YouTube link or a Spotify link or whatever link to the song and put it into your show notes and say, these songs inspire me. Here's 30 songs. What's the story behind the song? Why does it inspire you? And then release 30 episodes in a row. That's it. It can be like 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes per episode. And you could start recording these right now. And depending on your hosting site, so I have Captivate, Buzzsprout, and Spotify for podcasters, you can schedule your episodes to go live in the future. So I record it on August 4th, but I release it on November 16th. I can set that up right now. And I just have I have a piece of paper and I have all the dates and I just highlight them as I do them, as I complete them. And I just fill them all in and I just give them a future date. So I can go through and I can create all my episodes in August to release in November and just have them done now. And they just sit there and wait till November to come around. It's a great way to do that. So if music's not your thing, give me 30 quotes that inspire you. And why do they inspire you? A 2-minute episode. Record those all now and set them to go live in November. How about 30 books that really you think everyone should read? Talk about each of the books, 1 per day. Record that now. Have a link to the books on your Amazon page or to the author page. And record your quick thoughts around these 30 books and why they inspire you. 30 people that inspire you. And have a link to their website. And just what is it about that person that makes you smile? You could have 30 bedtime stories for kids. You could have 30 Bible verses if that's your thing and you're into all of that. Then do 30 verses that give you inspiration. Any of these things. These could all be options for you, and you can record them in August. Don't wait till November and say, that's overwhelming to do 30 in a row. You can record them now and then let them go live in the future. That's what I'm doing. So as of November, there's going to be 90 episodes of Dave in addition to my other shows that are going to go live in November. So November's looking at like 100 episodes in a month when I combine all of my shows together. It's a lot of content going out. And I'm starting today. I'm not waiting till November to start. So my encouragement, if you're thinking about participating in National Podcast Post Month in November, is to start now and get a plan. If you have any questions about this and you're like, I just need some help planning this out, but I'd love to participate, then definitely be a part of this. When you release your episodes, in the show notes, make sure you use the hashtag NaPodPoMo, National Podcast Post Month, and put that in there, because that also is searchable and people will find it, and there'll be a lot of hoopla. Well, there's a word for you. There's a lot of hoopla around National Podcast Post Month in November. You want to be a part of that. You want people to you want to ride that wave as all the other podcasters are doing this as well. So welcome to November in the future, and do your planning now. You can always record in when you have time and release in the future. We call it batch recording, and you're recording a bunch of content in advance. You can always do this, and it gives you some breathing room. When I work with clients and they ask me whether or not we should do seasons, and I'm doing an episode on this coming up here on the How to Podcast series, I tell them that if they can batch record, you don't really need to take a break from your podcast, because you can record in advance and do what I'm doing like this for National Podcast Post Month. I can take the entire month of November off. I don't even need to turn on my computer. And 90 episodes are going to be live in November that I recorded in August. It's just planning. You can do this. I can help you. howtopodcast.ca. And again, as always, in the show notes is a link just for you as a listener, where you can jump in my calendar and we can have time together, you and I, chat about your podcast, and you can ask any questions you want. I'd love to help you anytime you want. It's free. It's only for you. Check out in the show notes and let's meet together and talk. Happy National Podcast Post Month in November, everyone. Get to work. Let's talk soon. Thanks for listening.